This is MIA2K Podcast, and we are your ticket from Miami to Seoul. We are your pilots, Kathy and Laura, two fun-seeking girls with obsessive fandom tendencies, taking you on a ride through the Hallyu wave from our perspective as opinionated, grown Latina fans from Miami.
Before we close the cabin doors, make sure you're following us wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And if you like to watch, our in-flight podcast video is available on YouTube and Spotify.
Once we reach our cruising altitude, we'll be serving one thing and one thing only, piping hot tea. We're ready to fly into today's topic with our hot and sunny takes.
So fasten your seatbelts, sit back, relax, and prepare for takeoff.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our podcast and welcome to season 3. We are so excited for this new season, and we hope that you guys like everything that we have planned for you.
Today's episode is all about girl groups. And so like our new intro says, buckle up and enjoy the ride.
Hell yeah. So a short little update on what we've been up to this off season, this between season 2 and season 3. Laura, start off, please.
Basically, if you're watching us, I cut my hair. I got nails.
She did.
And I bought the Justin Bieber pimple patches at our stars. And that's it. Oh, and I survived allergy season. Well, I'm surviving.
Jury's still out. Yeah. She's still she's trying her hardest to survive this allergy season. Yeah.
I believe
Can
in
you
myself.
hear the ambulance in the background? I'm sorry if you can hear the ambulance in the background.
Mm-mm.
Even though it's very loud. Okay, I'm glad no one's listening. Oh yeah, these are dynamic mics. That's why they don't pick up on external noise. Good times. Sorry, it's just me. I'm very distracted, guys. I'm sorry. So for me, I was out of the country for almost 2 months unexpectedly, but everything's good. Was dealing with some family stuff, but everything is good. Went to the CK concert yesterday, so my voice is a little bit raspier than usual. Even though I tried not to scream, the purge just purged me. So it is what it is. And when I was out of the country, I was in Colombia, which is where my mom and my maternal family is from. And while I was there, I found all the connection points between South Korea and Colombia. And I have a video at some point that I'm going to make. So stay tuned for that.
And then collectively, together, we have actually been to 1, 2, 3 concerts. And it's not even middle of the year.
Nope.
We went to Keshi, PH1, and Epic High. And we successfully hosted our second event here in Miami, the Kpop Rumba Bus.
Hell yeah.
It was a really fun time. We got to meet a lot of new people, and we showed Miami what K-pop was, or is, I should say. So
we indeed did. Yeah, they were not aware. They were not sure what hit them in the face. We were navigating the streets of Miami, and people looked hella confused with the sounds that were coming from our bus. But yeah, we also have some recap videos that we want to post about that experience. But jobs and things are, in the way of us fully producing the masterpieces that we want to produce. So coming soon. Sorry, guys. Yeah. Anyway, so let's get right into today's episode. So like Laura said at the beginning, we're going to be talking about girl groups because we haven't really talked about girl groups that much in previous seasons. We have given attention to some specific women that we love and stan, South Korean women, but we haven't really given a lot of girl groups their time. And I am in my girl group era right now. So this felt very relevant to talk about today. So Laura, please start off on this, topic with the historical side, because, you are a research girly. So go ahead.
So Kathy is really in her girl group era.
Yeah.
When we were driving to PH1, it was actually in Orlando. So we had about 3.5 hours in the car. She just started playing a lot of girl groups, and she's like, oh, this is a bop. Oh, I love this. And I'm like, when did this start? Like, when is this a thing?
Yeah.
So basically, boy groups have always been more predominant than girl groups from the very small amount of research that I did. From the very beginning, all the companies were catering to young girls, and by looking for that audience, they created mostly boy groups and they marketed them because they had this theory that girls would be more willing to open their own wallets and their parents' wallets to buy merch and albums and everything. So they were mostly targeting young girls. So basically girl groups didn't really become popular until the second gen, with Girls' Generation, Wonder Girls, Kara, 2NE1 mainly, right? And they started getting traction and started becoming more popular. Currently, I think, and this is just based on opinion, I think girl groups are just about as popular as boy groups now.
I'd say even more based on charts
That's
right
true.
now. Yeah, at least in Korea, it seems like it is.
Right. I think they've had this renaissance
Mm.
where they're appealing now to everybody and not just boys or men. They're trying to get like a bigger audience, and that has helped them to gain a lot more popularity. So
Yeah. And also just going into why we weren't really super captivated by girl groups at first, because when we got into K-pop, it started with BTS and stuff, and it kind of snowballed into getting to know all the other boy groups. But at the beginning, we weren't really aware or keeping an eye on any girl groups. It wasn't really like captivating and calling our attention as much. There's a few reasons I would say. First of all, thirst, obviously. I think that's the main one for both Laura and myself. It's just, we are who we are. And that's that on that. Also, I think this is also true for both of us. And this is an overgeneralization. It's not the case for every girl group, obviously, the type of music that they make, but just generally speaking, like bubblegum pop is not really the style of music or genre that Laura and I gravitate towards, like that we listen to. We like pop, but there's a very specific bubblegum pop that we don't necessarily gravitate towards, and that also might have kept us away for a while. Also, another generalization that might not apply as much now that we know more, but at the time it was our perception. It felt like girl groups were like cookie cutter, and like a lot of the members were just like falling in line with whatever the company wanted them to be, and we didn't really see a lot of different personalities there.
and it's not perception. There has been articles about the fact that this is what the companies were putting out there for their girl groups.
Right.
They wanted them to have a more passive image.
Yeah.
Either and passive doesn't mean not sexy, because a lot of girl groups have done the sexy concept very
Yeah.
early on.
Yeah.
But it's more like passive for the male gaze.
Right. Like they're not gonna talk back to you kind of thing. And yeah.
Right. They're either
Submersive. Yeah.
super cute or super sexy, but they'll never
Yeah.
talk back.
Yeah. I agree. Another thing that I think we both have noticed more as we got into more girl groups was the choreography is not as high intensity for girls sometimes as it is for the guys. So I think, it's just more striking whenever we want to like, when we see a new music video drop, we are like, wow, this choreo is like super intense. For guys, it's not the case for the girls for a lot of the time, but it still has its own charm and merit. We still like plenty of girl group choreos, especially like more of the recent ones. And I think one last thing that I really remember not really vibing with at first is, I don't want to call it infantilization, but we did see a lot of that in Korea when we visited last November, and everywhere that we went, we saw like, they draw the police as drawings or cartoons. And we went to the temple and they have also cartoon style chibi images of things for people to like. So I think there's a lot of infantilization and in making things palatable for people. And when it comes to girl groups, they really like high pitch their voices a lot, and they have a lot of like, little girly girl concept and stuff like that. And that's not really our vibe. So those are all, I think, reasons why we weren't really jiving with the girl groups at the beginning of our K-pop stan journey.
It's giving very much Britney Spears changing her voice.
Exactly. Exactly that.
Because I refuse to believe that all of these girls, all of these women have the same type of voice. Like it just doesn't make sense. Like
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
just naturally I feel like it's impossible for everyone to
Yeah.
have the same type of voice.
Like they train them to sound, with like to get to that specific pitch or note or chord or whatever. Not a music producer, clearly. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it wasn't mathing for us. So at the
Mm-mm.
beginning, we really didn't look that way. But that all changed when Laura stumbled across Mamamoo. I don't know how she found them. I just know that one random day she's like, "Hey, this girl group is it." And that was the end of my life as I knew it before.
I honestly can't remember how I got to it. I think maybe YouTube just kind of like did its
Recommended
thing,
something?
or Spotify.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, Kathy,
Mm.
I think it was you.
No, mama, it was for sure you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you sending me. I mean, we can go back on our texts and stuff because that would make me feel very good if I brought something to you.
Feel like you
But
might have.
no, I remember being in like my bed one night and you sent me some Mamamoo stuff, and I was like, oh my God, like who is this woman? I need to worship her forever. Kwasa, my queen. So I'm pretty sure it was you. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't remember the exact circumstances, but as soon as we saw them, we were like, vocals, check. Sexiness, check. Personality, check. We're in. Like,
Mm.
they're absolutely stunning. And the vocals in that group, like the way that they got four of the most amazing vocalists in the entire country in that group that have so much range and so much like the pipes, just the pipes on
Mm-hmm.
them are incredible. We were completely sold. So Mamamoo was our first dip into the girl group life. And then I think we jumped to Itzy
We
right
did.
away, which we'll say right now, we're not very happy with the music choices that JYP is pushing onto Itzy as of
Mm-mm.
late. So we're not really vibing with the music, but we do like the girls a lot.
Because they started with really strong music,
Mm-hmm.
really
Mm-hmm.
strong choreography, really
Like
like
empowering and like,
empowering, yeah.
yeah,
And then it just kind of like did like a little like backtrack
it
into
has.
cute bubblegum, put
But
my
yeah,
sneakers
no, they
on.
came with like they were making a statement, like, Loco, Wannabe, all these songs sounded very different from the other stuff that was on the radio at the time.
Right.
And, it really kind of played into their bad bitch personalities. Like Yeji and Ryujin are so like they look so badass, and it those songs really fit them. And it just felt very like sexy but age appropriate, and all those things were
Mm-hmm.
kind of playing up. But now, like, after Sneakers and Boys Like You, or whatever the name of that song is, it's not we don't think that JYP is pushing them in the right direction. Like, they have so much potential and they can do so much more. So
That's true.
yeah, but we like them and we hope that they can
They're
break out of this current phase that they're
very
in
cute.
soon. Yeah.
But I mean, in general, the industry itself is changing. And I think that's why we're changing our perspectives too.
Oh yeah,
They're
yeah.
trying to sell more empowerment, more
Mhm.
badass women. They still have cute and sexy concepts, but they're not going for creepy men
Yeah.
as their audience. They're just going for everyone.
Yeah.
And I think that has made a big change for us, because a lot of the groups that we like are actually more of the younger groups that have the more strong music.
Agreed. Yeah, it's like they kind of come out of the gate swinging with like really strong concepts to stand out and stuff. And then depending on the company, maybe they just, I don't know, try to tone it down, or I don't know what it is that they do, but whatever it is, they need to stop, because every girl group should have their own identity and they should really play up to whatever the members' talents are. Like, we really like
Yeah.
G-idols kind of completely stepping away from the typical likable perfect girl
Yeah.
and going for a little bit more of a raunchy tomboy, cursing, twerking, like they really are stepping away from the mold, and we appreciate that very, very much.
Agreed. We've also really recently been into Twice
Yeah.
because even though their music isn't what I would call super, not impactful, that's not the word. It's easy listening music for sure.
Mm-hmm.
However, I feel like the members are all very
Strong.
strong women.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it like counterbalances the softness, not softness, but the easy listening of their songs.
I
So
agree.
like it just kind of it like does a good balance. And I
It
think that's
does.
why I've been like, oh my God, Twice. Hello.
Right. Yeah. Our journey to Twice was longer than I think most people would expect, because I think Twice is one of those groups that like most people know about. They have now
Yeah.
international recognition. They just got awarded by
Yeah.
Billboard. So they've been around. They've been hitting the charts and people know Twice
Yeah.
very well. But for us, I guess we were just busy looking at boys, so it is what it is. But we're here. We're now in the ones territory, and we are very happy to see that Twice is coming back again for more tours and more concerts here, and that they're getting their airtime. Their interview with Kelly Clarkson was really, really cute and really well done. And I feel like it played up to all the members in their different personalities. So I love what's happening with Twice, and we love them. But I'll say, going back to how my journey into my current girl group era status started, I think the yeah, because it definitely has an origin point. My villain origin
Oh,
story
for sure.
as a girl group stan basically started with SM Town January 1st of 2022, because once I saw Got the Beat, which is SM's super group girl group unit, which has members from Girls' Generation, BoA, Red Velvet, and aespa, I was like, wow, like that was my first real introduction to Girls' Generation. I really didn't know them before that. I knew the name and I knew a couple of classic songs, but I didn't know the members at all. But I was really intrigued from seeing that first video when they presented themselves at the SM Town event, and they had this whole like elaborate choreo where they were all like not facing the camera and covering their faces so they could have like a reveal. So that really kind of shook me, and I was like, oh my God, I need to know more. So it was really that Got the Beat was my beginning into going down the girl group rabbit hole. From there, I really got into Girls' Generation, like this last comeback that they had with Forever One. And I know it was like a huge event for fans of Girl Generation and for fans of K-pop and for fans of second gen and for fans of music in general, because Girls Generation really was like a huge staple, is a huge staple of the South Korea music and TV industry, because all those girls are doing all the things in all the places. They really are so talented. But for me, it was just like, oh, this is my first comeback that I'm experiencing them with. And I saw all their content, which was fucking amazing. I love just their dynamic, their personalities. And it was really hard to get them all together in one room because of how busy they all are and how in demand all of them are individually in their own fields. But I really appreciated why they are still a force to be reckoned with and why they were such a big deal. So yeah, I was kind of Got the Beat, Girls' Generation. And then I was there for Le Sserafim's debut. That was the first group that I was like, I want to watch their debut. And I remember it was in May of last year, I think. Yeah. I remember seeing them on stage. I obviously, because as a army and as a MOA, I am very much in tune with whatever Hybe is doing. So when I knew that Le Sserafim was debuting, I wanted to kind of be like, oh, this is my first time that I'm here for a group from the beginning. It was like a moment for me, a milestone. So I really like Le Sserafim from the beginning. Their first album is really good. I like the members. The scandal was kind of unfortunate that they, started off on that note, but they recovered as well as they possibly could have under the circumstances of losing a member within 2 weeks of starting out, which is
Yeah.
wild. And then NewJeans like made us all fall on our asses and forget like our identities and just everything because of how revolutionary they've been.
Yeah.
They kind of came out of nowhere. They decided to have a debut without having a pre-release single or anything. I mean, they had a pre-release single, but they didn't have like stuff leading up to it as other groups kind of tend to do when they debut. They did things very differently when they came out, and they were very organic, no dyed hair. They looked very like girly in the sense of like young and playing up to their natural quote unquote aura. And when Laura and I went to South Korea, they were everywhere. Like the ads,
Everywhere.
crazy. Like the music at every store we went to, the music was playing. all the ads like for Apple, iPhone were for them or from them or with them. And it was impossible to not see the impact that they've had on the South Korean public. So I think that also helped. We already were kind of obsessed with hype boy and attention. Like we already were in there. Not Cookie. Cookie is canceled still, but
Canceled.
super canceled. But yeah, it was I think it pushed us over the edge even more to just kind of see it all play out over there. And then that's when we, I think, fully embraced Twice. I think that kind of that's for me personally. I think that's when I was like, okay, let me like find out a little bit more about Twice. So, and yeah, that's me today. Now I have daughters because I have adopted sons before. Bomgyu is my son, but now I have daughters because XG debuted. And arguably, XG is not necessarily considered K-pop. They are Japanese, they are performing in Korea, but they are singing in English. So K-pop as it is very like blurry lines, but with XG is really a whole like new boundary breaking situation. And they've had a really successful round of promotions, which I'm very happy about. But I stand them so hard. I adopted every single one of them. My youngest daughter is 17 years old, she just turned in December. And I fucking love them. I just don't even know what else to say about them. They're incredible. They're so talented. They're so committed. They've gone also through quite a bit of hardship trying to get into the market. So I stand them even harder for that. Yeah, I think that's my spiel. Oh, and I'm currently held in a chokehold by 50/50's Cupid. That is my current situation. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I'm sorry I've been talking for 70 minutes straight, Laura.
No, it's good because I am not quite there yet. I do like girl groups way more now, and like I mentioned earlier, the newer ones, the younger ones, they have different, like they have a different concept, and it's definitely more attractive to me. At the beginning, I didn't really vibe with XG, but I was just being silly. Like, who am I?
But that's us.
Left, right, like,
That's us. Like, we don't vibe with things. Like, I fully rejected you for like months about like getting into K-pop. And then look at us. That's literally our MO. We just say no because we like to play hard to get. And then we fully fall face down into whatever it is that the other one was suggesting that we should get into. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
So now I can't stop listening to them. And it's a problem.
Yeah.
They're just, it's good stuff that they're coming out with.
They
like
are.
Even with I-DLE, it took me about 75 years to get into my bag, but like it's so good. But yeah, I appreciated you taking us through
my journey onto to being the girl group stan that I am today. I think it also has to do with the fact that last year there wasn't, maybe I'm just speaking out of turn here because I'm trying to think back of all the music that came out last year. And I can't really say that there was a lot of boy group music that was super memorable. Like there were some good drops, obviously there were some good drops, but like at the end of the year when everybody was doing their top list of like the top songs, there were barely any boy groups listed there. Like I'm not saying, listen, I still listen to all the boys, all of them. But I think the girls had a year last year. I think
they did.
Like I've winning like as a rookie, like song of the year was a huge moment. And I think the, NMIX coming out, Kepler coming out, and all those things kind of lent themselves to really having a strong girl group presence in all of like literally everywhere. Like
it was definitely the year of the girl groups for sure. Like
100%.
for sure. Starting with the new ones to like the older ones, girls' generation coming back. Like it was the year for girl groups, 100%.
It really was.
And one of the reasons why we wanted to do this episode is that I guess towards the end of the year, articles came out or some numbers came out, and we were so surprised by the streaming numbers. It was mind-boggling. It still is mind-boggling.
Agreed.
I read this article that was titled "Girl Groups Get the Ears, Boy Bands the Dollars,"
Oof.
and I think that's true. Like,
Mm-hmm.
just based on streaming numbers, like, was it NewJeans has more streams than Stray Kids, ATEEZ, and some other group combined? Like, that's ridiculous.
They have so much. I think they just passed like 100, whatever, million, gazillion, trillion. I don't even know which illion it is, but they haven't even been out for a year, which is freaking wild.
Yeah.
Like the power of having just that perfect formula, because we kid ourselves if we say that it's only talent. There are plenty of talented groups that don't see the light of day,
Mm,
and plenty of
yeah, for sure.
hardworking groups that don't see the light of day. It has to be one of those like cosmic universe combination of things where it's like you got people who want it really badly, they work their asses off, they have a lot of talent, and then they have a lot of money because the hive machine is behind them, so they have a ton of money, and then they have the right concept at the right time, they have the right styling, they have the right song for the season. Like it's a lot of factors that come into account because of literally every other group is fighting for that airtime. So it's a battle, and for NewJeans to have done what they have done so far is fucking wild. And recently, like at the end of the year, like
Wild.
Laura was saying, all the streaming numbers for them and for girl groups in general, they basically, like for us it was shocking, like Laura said, because we listened to a lot of like BTS, Stray Kids, TXT, Monsta X, 17. Like we listen to a lot of boy groups, and they don't make the top of the charts right now. Like the charting lists are nowhere to be found right now. TXT is the only boy group. Like it's
But
freaking
they
wild.
do, but they're the ones that sell the most like physical albums. So it's
Right.
crazy. Like, people really aren't listening to them as much because, in all honesty, how many times have you listened to any of the albums you bought besides like the Proof third CD?
Even that, I think I only listened to it a couple of times because like I don't have the time to be taking out a CD out of the
Right,
freaking case. So yeah, it's not.
right.
Yeah,
So people are buying just to hoard because we're loyal and
because we just want the photo cards and we just want to
right.
support the chart like counts or whatever. Yeah.
But then like people are really listening to girl groups. I
Hmm.
just did a quick search and XG has more monthly listeners than ATEEZ. A
Wow.
million more.
Wow.
A
A whole
million.
million. A
A
whole
whole
million.
million. Like ATEEZ has 3.1 and XG has 4.6. That's more than a million.
And that's like XG really didn't have a lot of traction up until just now, because it wasn't until Kokona went viral on TikTok for her rapping in Korean, Japanese, and English that I think XG really picked up steam with like all the people that are fans of K-pop in general. But now that they had
Right.
their comeback for Shooting Star, they were also dropping new content for Left and Right, which was the song that they dropped mid last year. So it's like XG really has only been garnering a lot of listening like recently. This is new. While ATEEZ has dropped a lot of music also, and they just had a tour. They just dropped a mini album. Like how does that even happen? It's crazy. I guess there's like a feel good I don't know, energy to girl group, or it's just better for dancing. I guess people feel like they can do those dances better also. I don't know.
And I mean, even just in the sheer amount of songs they have available, that is insane. Like,
Exactly.
wow, wow.
It's mind blowing.
I'm mind blown.
I know.
That's
So I,
insane.
I think this is the beginning of an interesting year musically. Laura just dropped like her mouth open. What did you see? Tell the people.
XG has 4.6, 17 has 5.9.
Wow, that is like a,
17's been going since 2015.
and they are very established right now as the ones to
They're
take the
literally the
throne. Like, that
like
is
after Stray
wild.
Kids 17. Like, that is, I am just NewJeans
Flabbergasted.
has 22 million, but
That's yeah,
who's counting at this
they
point?
are on a different planet and stratosphere. I can't even. You know what I was thinking like not that long ago? I was like, "Oh, I wonder when NewJeans is going to come out like in concert." And I was like, they don't even have enough songs to do like an hour. Like they have nothing. It would have to be like a fan meeting because they would have to fill it with variety stuff. They don't have enough, but I'm like, I'm ready to see them in concert. Like I need to scream hype boy. Like I need to scream and do the oh my god, the sun is sun. Like it's I don't know. Wow. Yeah, like the
Yeah,
girls are gonna take over. And
they have 6 songs.
yep. And I know that our opinion is probably in the minority because when we've gone to random play dances and stuff like that, there's a lot more people that jump in for girl songs than for boy songs. And there's a lot of fans of just girl groups in general. Like we know that there are fans that only stand girl groups basically, and that they're really dedicated to that. So we know that our take is kind of weird in a sense. Although I'm sure some people identify with only really following a few groups. I mean, not to mention that there's people that are only standing one group at a time and that's it. Right. So I'm sure that there's people that only know a few boy groups here and there, but whatever. But we are seeing the shift into girl group territory and we're here for it. At least I am in my girl group era.
Man, at this point, like
we literally have no choice but to stand. Zero choice.
Just for girl empowerment, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, we just found out literally right now, Mamamoo is actually coming on tour to the US. There was rumors for a bit. We were hoping it was true, but it just got confirmed today that we're recording. And they're hitting a lot of cities, which I was also very surprised about because like, I don't know, a lot of groups recently have been hitting like maybe 4 or 5 cities tops. So like, yeah, so this season, one of the new things that we want to try is there is a type of episode that we can do on Spotify where we can play some songs for you guys. So we are going to do an episode for sure on XG with that style because they're my daughters and this is my role as their mother. But if you guys want to have us introduce you to music, like let's say last year Laura did a presentation on 17 and that kind of brought some people onto Carrot Land a little bit. So if you guys want to see us do an episode that is a musical episode and introduces you to songs from any groups, let us know. Send us a DM on our social media or leave a comment on our YouTube channel or send a carrier pigeon. I don't care. You can find us in a lot of places. So
we can make it a topic or like a question.
Yeah, we'll add a question to our Spotify. So you can definitely find it there. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, definitely jump over to our social media. You can find us on all the channels by searching for at MIA2K Podcast. That's MIA, the number 2K Podcast. And yeah, just like send us a DM or leave a comment somewhere. And we might even do a poll on our stories to see who you want to like have an episode that is getting you introduced to the music. We'll do one of those pretty soon. So we're excited about that.
Very excited. So I guess with that,
we're done.
Thank you so much for listening.
We're back.
Woo, woo, woo. We appreciate it.
Yeah, guys, thank you for waiting. And we are so excited to deliver a lot of really awesome content and fangirl with you guys or fanboy. And yeah, just stay tuned. Thank you for listening and have an awesome week.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the MIA2K podcast. We have lots of great content coming up ahead. So please don't forget to follow and subscribe to our show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you enjoyed our episodes, please rate us 5 stars.
And for the real-time tea, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook by searching for @MIA2K Podcast. Dale. Bye.